with a flick, now load up the film. Yeah. You feeling like me? I feel like a prince that turned to a king. Found me a queen, started a family and got me a team. On top of my dreams, join her, I know you inspired by me. Like I was inspired by Nelson Mandela. I give him a rose for every...
What's up, guys? It's your girl, Asia Abston, and I am back with another episode of the Get Rich or Get Drunk Trying podcast. That was Will by Joyner Lucas. Shout out to Will Smith. He has always been like my dream guy, and he just wants to prove to y'all that he still got it. He can still rap because that record is low-key crazy. I have almost no voice because I have been yachting it up, getting real rich vibes, keeping it real sexy, yet social distancing. It was only 4 of us, so I don't want to hear it. I'm so glad that I recorded this week's interview last week when I still had a voice, so we're just going to jump right into it. This week I have Jance Chartae with me, owner of Brazen Boutique, owner of the Boutique Academy, and all-around dope content creator. I found Jance when I was looking into some business for electric87.com, and she taught me a few things as an entrepreneur, and I knew that she had a lot to teach you guys. So I'm super thrilled to have her with me. And before we hop into Jance's interview, I just want to remind you to continue to rate the show and subscribe so that you're always notified of when new episodes drop. And make sure you email me at asia@getrichorgetdrunktrying.com. If you want to connect, follow me on Instagram, and let's continue to get it. All right, guys, I want to welcome you back to another episode of the Get Rich or Get Drunk Trying podcast. I have a super special guest today. Jance Chartae is with me. Please tell me that I'm pronouncing your name right.
Yep, you got it right.
Okay, thank you, Jesus. As many of your Insta stories as I've watched, I should have the shit down packed at this point. Thank you for joining me on the show. I'm super excited to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
We have tons and tons to talk about.
Okay.
Jance is the boutique whisperer. If you have a problem with your online e-commerce business, this is the woman that you go to. And you know what I find most interesting about that is that you've only been doing this for what, a year and a half or so?
Yep, a year and a half, since November 2018.
How have you gotten so much knowledge so quickly?
So I actually worked in retail, corporate retail, for 12 years before I launched my online boutique. So I basically got, a long list of manuals thrown in my direction from a host of corporate retailers, from Forever 21 all the way up to like Saks Fifth Avenue and Michael Kors and all that. So I learned a ton throughout the duration of me working in corporate retail, and I started applying it to my own life instead of me clocking in for somebody else every day.
Now, when you were reading those corporate retail manuals, did you ever think in a million years that you would be not only implementing it for yourself, but then teaching it to other people?
Never in 1,000 years. I think I was like, most normal people. I was, clocking in for work. I was getting my little check,
going home.
I was getting raised here and there. Like, I was cool. I wasn't thinking anything of it. It was a job. Right. So I was, doing what I was supposed to do, reading the manuals, applying it at work every day, and going about my business.
And you never thought that you would be using it, not just using it for you, but teaching it to other people?
Never in 1,000 years.
That is crazy. What do you think the biggest lesson from corporate retail was for you? Like, what was the big takeaway that you learned that the giants do that us small businesses can implement as well?
Definitely to listen to your people, listen to your customers. There's always, that saying, the customer's always right. I don't too much agree with that one per se.
The customer doesn't know what they want.
They don't. But I'm like, listening to your customers for sure. Like, being an online retailer, me just simply watching what my customers click on, what they, add to carts and things like that. Even though I can't verbally hear them, I see the actions that they're taking. So that's me listening to them. I'm listening to what's working, what they like, and things like that. So I would say the biggest thing I learned was just to listen to my people, listen to my customers, and apply what they needed me to do, and provide what they wanted.
Now, are some of your old clients gone? Have they died? Because, retail brick and mortar has fallen apart.
So my last job was for a small business in St. Louis, and it was part thrift store, part boutique. So they were like my clients, but not my clients because I didn't own the store. So not exactly. No. I've always had this personality where like people could just remember me from one job to the next. So funny story, literally the other day, I got an email alert from my old job's Facebook account, and somebody reached out and said, "Hey, I'm looking for Jance," and so it was still connected to my email.
That's crazy.
So I was like, okay, this is weird. So
and you haven't been there in like 2 years, right?
Almost 2 years, yeah. And she was like, "Hi, I'm looking for Jance." I'm like, okay. And what was funny, she was like, she found me on YouTube, and at the time I was working at the store, so she heard me say I worked there, so she reached out to the store's Facebook account, and it just
she was gonna track you down one way or the other. She needs some jam in her life.
Crazy.
It's wild the impact that you will make on people. That's why it's always important to make yourself memorable. Even if you're a quiet person, even if you're an introverted person, when you have those one-on-one interactions with people, you can always still make yourself stand out. You never know what opportunities could come your way.
Exactly. And I think, like you just said, like I'm not a super extrovert at all. I'm pretty much to myself. And then when I got on YouTube, I think people just naturally assume like, oh, she's out there, like she has to be this overly outgoing person. I'm like, no, I'm really not. Like, I guess I'm more so one of those people who knows how to turn it on and turn it off when they need to. Like,
got you.
I'm here, like right now, I'm here, girl. But once I get off, I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna go back.
I don't want to talk to nobody else today. That's fair. That is fair. Actually, before we deep dive into the rest of this interview, I think it's time for a cocktail.
Yeah.
I asked you what your favorite get drunk cocktail would be to recommend today. I'm actually having a Jack and blackberry lemonade myself.
Okay.
It's Friday. What's the vibe? What you sipping on over there, babe?
So right now I'm sipping on an amaretto sour. This is my drink of choice when I'm
just solo cup. You guys can't see her, but she got a solo cup. I respect it.
I got my little straw. This is my drink of choice, just like in normal everyday activity. If I was outside though, my drink of choice would be a French 75.
Oh, bougie.
Yes, just a little bit.
Those. Oh man, I miss being outside.
Oh, I feel like I'm trapped. Like
same.
It's terrible.
Well, at least you're at home with your man. Like I'm at home with my dog. He's sick of me.
I can't keep my husband in the house. Like he literally just left. I'm like, dude, like stop bringing these germs back with you, or you gotta either stay in or you gotta stay out. Like pick your place and stay there.
You heard it here first, people. An amaretto sour. Yeah. I have not had one of those in forever, but you know what? I'm gonna put it back on my list when outside opens up. Okay, now I'm gonna dive into the deep questions because this is what the people want to know.
Okay.
What is it that pushed you into leaving the hamster wheel and venturing out on your own?
So, like I said, I never had any intentions of working for myself at all. It was never like a dream of mine. So honestly, I really do feel like it was God that pushed me here because I started making my YouTube videos while I was still working full time. And I just decided randomly just to start sharing information. And then
what type of content were you sharing at that time? Because you didn't even have a business yet.
True. So I started sharing information about where to get clothing for an online or for a boutique. I started sharing information about the fashion district and stuff like that because I had, in my last job, they let me go to the fashion district to source clothes and send me to trade shows and stuff like that. And that was my first introduction to it. So I started to do research myself, trying to find out more information. And I noticed that there wasn't much. So everything that I learned, I was like, oh, I'm going to just tell everybody. I'm going to just let everybody know. So I honestly think, I always say God pushed me in the direction that I went because my last job, that job that I was just speaking of, it ended up closing down. And my job before that went out of business as well. So I was like, okay, God's talking for me. I don't need to go back to work. Like,
clearly,
I keep ending up unemployed and I ain't got time for this. Nope. And I was sharing that information on YouTube and people started trusting me more and more. And they started reaching out for more advice. And then people were like, can you coach me? Can you do this? Can you do that? And I'm like, I don't even have a business myself right now. So I was like, okay, well, it makes sense for me to just launch a business. Then I can just actually show you what I'm doing as I'm doing it. And it'll be like we're doing it together. So I think more so I was just like, I wanted to show people what was possible for themselves by me implementing it myself, and allowing them to follow along my journey while I followed along with them through their journey.
That is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
You built your business sheerly from the demand of other people wanting the knowledge from you.
Yep.
That's usually in the complete reverse. Like, people build this business and then they have to beg people to pay attention to them. I think you're 100% right. The universe wanted you to have this brand, come hook or crook. You had people paying you in your real job to find this information out. Yep. And because out of your spirit, you were like, well, maybe I should just share this organically because you thought it was cool and you saw a need and something was missing. And then they just kept trying to pay you. So you built the business so that they could pay you.
That's exactly what I did, girl.
Won't he do it?
Girl, he pushed me right on over there. Like, here, go on over there into your spot that I've been preserving.
Clearly, he cleared a path. I'm here for that. You know what, Jesus, if you're listening, I seen what you have done for Jance. I am available.
Oh my
God. Some of that over here.
Yes.
Oh man, please. That is such a good kickoff story. What would you say were the most important things for you before you started your business, or what are important things for other people to know before they jump into starting business?
Definitely to have a plan. I think, honestly, you never know, especially starting a business. You don't know what you're getting yourself into until you're in it, but you still need to have some sort of a plan going into it. Otherwise, that confusion that you're going to get, regardless, you're going to be confused at some point. It's going to be times 10, times 100 once you get into it without a plan. So number one, have some sort of, even if it's just like a schedule of events, like, on this day, I want this to have occurred, or I want to have accomplished this by this day, or whatever. Having some sort of a guideline to follow so that everything you're doing isn't so random and without reason, because that ends up being, I think, the biggest downfall for new business owners. And what causes them to quit so easily or so quickly is because they didn't have a plan to begin with. Mm-hmm. And so when they get in it and they realize, it's going to take more work than they imagined, or they realize that it's actually going to take work, they just are like, oh no, like I didn't sign up for work. And then they fall by the wayside. So definitely a plan for sure.
Maybe a mentor, maybe a book that you could read about your industry, somewhere that you can get like an outline of things that need to be accomplished. And then, even though it seems like this huge task, reverse engineer it, break it down into baby steps, break it down into one thing that you're going to get accomplished per day for the next 6 months. And next thing you know, you could look up and have yourself a real business.
Exactly. I think, and that's how I operate my business. Like, even a year and a half into it, like I break things down into the smallest bits so that it makes more sense and seems more, it makes it seem more like likely for me to accomplish it by putting it into small bits versus me looking at it bigger picture. Like, oh my God, like for instance, with setting a sales goal, like I could say I want to make, $10,000 this month, but me breaking it down to needing to make this amount per week and then this amount per day, it seems so much more attainable than me saying like, oh my God, I'm gonna make $10,000 and then have to think about like, okay, now how I'm gonna make all this money. What am I gonna do?
Right.
Then if I'm like, oh, I just need to make, $167 a day, then that seems
can accomplish.
More doable. I'm like, oh girl, I need to sell 3 dresses. Cool. We can do that.
That's approachable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Actually, I just saw your poly mailers that you got. So cute. Sidebar. For anybody that is following Jance on Instagram, this is what made me so interested in you. You break down every single little minute detail about your business, about your online boutique. And to people that aren't in the business, that's boring stuff. But to those of us that are in the business, we love that. We love to see different competitors, where you're getting merchandise, where we can get merchandise. All those little details we appreciate and we make note of.
It's my pleasure.
Same. The amount of screenshots that I have taken from your Insta stories. Just so you know, I'm paying attention. If nobody else is listening, I'm listening.
That's awesome. I mean, I love sharing. And I always say, like, it feels so much better in my spirit to share than to keep it for myself. Like, I'm like, I have so much information inside of me that I can't apply to my own business. Like,
It's not possible.
It's not. I'm like, I've worked for huge corporations. Like, I have an amount of information inside my brain that some larger business could use that I can't use simply because of the fact that my business is still, small. Right. So me keeping that to myself I can't do anything right now with that. So why wouldn't I share
be a blessing to somebody else?
Yes, girl. I'm like, here, please take this information and apply it, do something with it, and blossom and grow. Like,
I would say, especially in fashion, right? Because people think that it's oversaturated. People don't jump into the market because of Fashion Nova and Forever 21, and they feel like they can't compete. And they don't realize that this is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Every single year, they're producing clothes left, right, and center. I can have 10 boutiques. Jance can have 10 boutiques. And everybody we know can have 10 boutiques. And there still will be room for you. Yep. Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, Wendy's, they all selling burgers. So I don't understand people's just aversion to fashion boutiques. If you have a passion for it, don't feel stifled because of Fashion Nova. That don't have nothing to do with you.
Exactly. And one of the things that I always mention or just think about and mention is just the mere fact that there are so many people in this world. I'm like, I can't serve all these people, girl. Please help me.
Please. Low key, please take some of these
50,000 people and I can keep 50,000 and my good friend over here can get 50,000. Like, I don't need 100 billion people. Right. I can't even service 100 billion people.
100% right. So it's 8 billion on the planet. Let's say half are women. I mean, come on, y'all. We can each have our business and all be successful. And you know what? As far as minority entrepreneurs go, that attitude of sharing and community and just being a blessing to somebody else just by freely giving out information or answering questions is so important. You go so much further when we go together instead of feeling like, oh, you're my competition and I'm selling shirts and you selling shirts. So not only are we not going to share information, but I'm going to throw salt in your game. It's useless.
Okay. Girl, it really is. And I'm always like, how black women call each other sis and everything. Like, I really feel that way. I'm like, this is my sister. Like, why would I keep something from you? Like, I want to win. I want to see you win. Your cousin, your mama, your cousin, your auntie, all of us. Like, I want to see all of us prosper. So, yeah, it's definitely 100% necessary for us to it could be the smallest thing, like just the smallest thing that you have that you could share with somebody to get them over like one hurdle. Like, it doesn't even have to be you sharing your entire business model with them or anything like that. Like, sharing just, how everybody is in this industry about like sharing their vendors and stuff. Me sharing where I got this one item from is not
going to make or break your business. Exactly. But it might catapult the next woman to start her business. Just something that simple. You're 100% right. And I've been to Santee Alley. I've been to the Fashion District in LA. And one thing that I'm sure you know is that when you go in those stores, somehow all the owners look exactly the same.
Yep, all of them.
All of them look exactly the same. And they're probably neighbors and relatives and cousins and moms and dads. And it's like an aha moment, like, I wonder why there's no diversity here. And it's because people of other cultures tend to stick together in a way that we don't. And they spend their dollar within their own community, period. And they will disinclude others until they can get into a position where they can corner a market.
Exactly. I remember one specific time, I think when I first realized it in the Fashion District, I was inside of one of the showrooms and I asked them if they had some type of style. I can't remember what it was. And the words that he said to me were, I don't know, let me call our sister store to see if they might have something like that. And I was like, and the vendor that he mentioned, I was like, why would that be y'all sister store? And so come to find out, they were like, cousins, relatives of some
Actual
sort.
sisters, right?
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I'm like, y'all real life relatives out here, and y'all just passing
They
this
mess
money
around and own the
on.
whole street. The whole street, every single boutique, no matter who you go into, the warehouse in the back alley, they owned by the same people.
Yes. And I was like, wow, that's a whole nother level of support. Like when I think about the amount of money that gets, populated within the fashion districts, like the mere fact of knowing that so many of them are connected to one another or literally related to one another, like all this money in a family, I'm just like, wow, like why can't our communities be like that?
Well, they can be, and it takes people like you who are giving out information, whether you think it's, life changing or not, you're putting it into the community, and that matters. So you're doing your part.
I try.
Next, I want to ask you, most business owners, especially in e-commerce, they focus on the number of orders that are placed.
Mm-hmm.
That's their driving factors. I want to have 100 orders or 200 orders or 2,000 orders, whatever that, pivotal number is for them.
Yeah.
But what are other ways other than focusing on the number of orders placed that you can make money within your retail store?
So you can, one, obviously source different merchandise that costs more, which means that you can ultimately make more money from it. So I'm personally an advocate for making the most money in the shortest span of time. So
Amen. Come on, that's the word.
14 days out of the month rather than 28 of them, I am all for it. I have no problem with going 5 days without making any sales if I made $5,000 in 5 days. Like, I'm good. I'm cool. So I think definitely being wise about the merchandise that you source and picking merchandise that, one, obviously your customers are going to want to buy and actually pay for, but two, thinking about how the price points that you set literally align with your ability to make X amount of dollars. So if you are constantly sourcing merchandise that costs, I don't know, $2 or whatever, you can only market so high without someone looking at you crazy for pricing it so high versus you selling something that is higher quality that may have obviously cost you a bit more money than usual, but you have the ability to sell it for a lot more money, which ultimately means that you can make a lot more money a lot quicker. So I'm always very cognizant of like how the merchandise that I choose has to align with the amount of money that I would like
to make.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I think that retail businesses often neglect, or at least small businesses neglect, average order value and average number of pieces per order. Definitely. Just because somebody bought one thing, that's fantastic. But guess what? That means they'll buy two, and they'll buy it within the same order. And I think a lot of businesses don't know how to push that. How would you suggest that a business upgrade from one item per sale to 2 items per sale?
So I am a huge advocate for buying things in collections versus buying random bits and pieces just because you like it and you think it's cool or trendy or whatever. So anytime I'm sourcing things, I'm always looking for items that I can pair together in an outfit and then ultimately market together. So when I go to take my pictures, I have on pants, a shirt, a jacket, a bag, or whatever. It's an outfit, sis, and she gonna want the whole outfit. So I ain't got time to be selling
one thing at a time
to just one person. Like, no, I want you to buy all 4 of these pieces, and then I'm gonna, once I've selected, let's say I picked a jacket. A jacket is most jackets are very universal. So I'm like, okay, what else in my inventory do I have that this jacket will pair with? So now, even though that inventory may be old per se, I'm now going to show you this jacket paired on top of the dress that I had 3 weeks ago. And hopefully somebody's going to buy it together. So I try to be very strategic about the merchandise that I choose and more so build collections of items that are cohesive and that pair well with one another rather than buying random bits and pieces that, a person's going to say, oh, I like that jumpsuit, and maybe not like anything else. You post that one thing one time, and then the next thing you post is, I don't know, a skirt, and they're like, oh, I don't really like the skirt, but I really like the jumpsuit, so they're going to go for the jumpsuit, obviously. No, I'm going to post this whole outfit, and you're going to buy this whole outfit.
I love that. That's how you make more money per order. It's a win-win-win. This person is already shopping with you. They're already interested in your business, and not only that, let's say, like you said, somebody buys a top and they buy a skirt, they might break that outfit up later and wear that top with some other bottom and vice versa. And now that gives you even more opportunities for that person to say, oh yeah, I got this from Brazen Boutique, or I got this from XYZ store. Like, word of mouth still works. Organic traffic still works. We're going to get into that because I know you got a lot to say. But yes, people, increase the number of items put in that cart. Like, it's magical. It will make you more money, and it will make you more money quicker than selling one item at a time.
Yes, exactly.
So another rampant misconception about, especially us in this digital age, in this social media age, I would say, is that people think followers equal dollars.
Yeah.
And I know that to be true in my own retail business. I lost a big page and had to start over. Yeah. Break my heart, sis. I still can't talk about it. But anyway, so my follower count is not high at all, but my money is still metro booming on the beat.
Okay, amen.
But people really do think that if your followers don't equate, then you must not be making money. What do you think that that's about?
I mean, I think like you said, we live in a digital era. Everybody's on social media all day, every day. We see, X, Y, and Z influencer or this big boutique owner, whoever. And, we live in an age of people showing everything. So, they share the screenshots of the amount of orders that they got last month, and they got 2,000 orders. And then the person goes and sees how many followers they have. They have 200,000 followers. So in their head, they're like, oh, I need to get my followers up to get my dollars up. And no, you don't. Like we were just talking about, like increasing your average units per transaction and increasing the average dollar amount of your transactions. Like, you can make the same amount of money as someone who has 200,000 followers with just your little 2,000. Kid you not. It's literally about, your ability to sell something to an audience of people who like whatever it is, that are building a relationship with an audience and being able to serve them in the best way possible. Like, if you can continuously share or provide something that they love, they will continue to shop with you. They'll continue to, recommend you and things like that. So I think social media has just like thrown everybody this like very terrible misconception that the more followers you have, the better your business is, the more important it is, the more money you make, things like that. And like influencer culture doesn't make it any better,
at all.
Girl, I'm just like, oh my God, like that's a whole nother subject.
It's exhausting. I know.
Influencers that have, some of them, come from money, so they already had money, so they present themselves in this one way, and people not knowing perceive them as people who had a ton of followers, and those followers resulted in them being able to afford the lifestyle that they had or something. So I don't know. I think there's just like something in people's brains that equates more followers to like a better life, if I may say, like,
right, which is sad.
It blows my mind. I'm just like, why? Like, I don't know. My brain thinks really in an odd, not even an odd, just different way. I always think about just like how I interact with brands online, or like how I perceive things. And I'm just like, I think about the number of brands that I follow that I've never shopped with in my life. So I'm like, I know for a fact.
And probably wouldn't.
Girl,
like their content. You find their Insta stories enjoyable, so you watch them. But that doesn't mean that you're ever going to spend $1 with them.
I think she's cute, but I ain't going to wear what she wears, or I'm not going to buy what she sells. I think it's cute for her. I enjoy it. Right. So thinking about that, I'm like, I know for a fact that a large percentage of these people's followers they're just like me. They just follow because they enjoy what they see. They, they're inspired by what this person does, but they have no
intention.
None to buy from them. So
I had an interesting experience in electric87.com, right? So I did influencer marketing. I tried it. I tested the waters like we all have. And I tried it with some bikinis. And I gave a bikini to a young lady with 200,000 followers. And I gave a bikini to a lady with 20,000 followers. And when I tell you, the young lady with 20,000 followers outsold the girl with 200,000 followers by like a multiple of 5.
Girl.
I mean, blew the other girl out the water. And they were I did my research. I picked really good girls who were in my market, perfect for my demographic, fashionistas, the whole nine. And that tiny little sample experiment just proved my point, because the lady with 200,000 followers, I had to pay her to wear my item. And the young lady with 20,000 followers, she just loved the swimsuit and asked if she could promote it. I said, of course. It cost me zero, other than the cost of goods. And that proved it to me right then and there in my own pocket that it does not always work that way.
It's so crazy. Like, even though we live in this culture where people equate, followers to dollars or whatever, it's almost like the smaller your follower count is, the more genuine your audience is, or the more likely your audience is to
engage.
Engage and, support whatever it is that you're promoting and stuff. And the larger it is, the least likely they are. I don't know. It's really strange, but
I think it feels like a community. Like for you. It feels like a community. You see the same couple people in your comments. You see the same groups of people in your live. And then people start recognizing each other. And maybe they get together and share business ideas. It feels like a small niche, cool community versus just throwing, rocks into the ocean. If you in Rihanna's comments, I mean, she ain't never going to read this.
Right. No, you're definitely right. I think I realized that for myself, because like we talked about, like I didn't intend for anything like this to occur in my life, and to gain however many followers or subscribers and stuff that I had. But the more that I gained, the more I realized how me just showing up consistently or providing something of value to my audience made them want to support other brands or support the brands that I spoke of. So like the vendors that I speak with all the time, girl, like if I say a vendor's name, people go and buy from them. And it's the craziest thing. Like I made a video about a vendor last summer, and they were new to the fashion district. I made a video for them, just me out of the kindness of my heart. And they sold out of everything they had in their showroom. And I was like,
you're the influencer, sis.
I was like, this is crazy. But that one video made me realize like the value of just like showing up for my audience and how much they trusted me. And also it reiterated to me that like I don't have to have a huge following for people to have, an impact. Yeah, exactly. So it's crazy, girl.
So if people don't focus on followers equaling dollars, what should e-commerce business owners be pushing more than their social media?
That's a great question. I still say your social media is a very important part of your business. I think more so it's just a matter of creating more content that is valuable to the audience you want to serve. I think we put way too much focus on just posting in general and feeling like we have to be consistent. And so in our desire to be consistent, we post things that aren't valuable. So I would say
that was a word.
That was a word. Value versus consistency. If I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, I haven't posted in 4 days, and I get ready to post something, I literally will ask myself, like, is this thing that I'm about to post going to be better than what I posted the last time I posted, or is it going to be at least the same quality? If it's not, I'm like, okay, well, I ain't got a business posting because this isn't going to do anything for me. So I would say just put more of an emphasis on like the actual content that you share and making sure that it's of value to your audience rather than just posting just to say you did it.
I love that. That is brilliant. That's a word for me. I'm about to make a note on my own personal account. Is this post better than the last post? If it's not, let it be, because feeds are already overwhelmed. There are so many. The algorithm is so crazy, and there's so many ads, and there's stories, and there's lives, especially now. Everybody and their mama is on live. It's exhausting. I would prefer to not have to chime in just because I haven't chimed in 4 days. Like, that's brilliant advice. I'm going to take that for my own life.
Yes.
So I know we touched on organic and paid advertising. Now I want to dive into it a little bit. Like, tell me what advertising avenues you recommend.
Definitely social media. So like primarily myself, I use Instagram and Facebook. I tend to use them for different reasons. So for whatever reason, and I don't think there's any, I don't know if there's any reasoning behind it, but whenever I'm trying to drive more traffic to my website, Instagram is the best platform for me to do that from. But when I'm trying to make sales, I make the most sales when I run ads on Facebook. I don't know why. I have no idea what the science is or if there is any science to it.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But I think I feel like I've learned over time that like running things in my feed versus in my stories works, or running ads in my feed versus in the stories works a lot better for me, because I think in stories people just generally, we just tap through.
Right past it.
It's like, oh, I just want to get out. I just want to get through all of them. You're not really paying attention to anything, and it makes it a lot harder for you to catch their attention because they are scrolling through it so fast. Not to say that they aren't scrolling through their feed so fast, but I feel like they take a bit more time when they're going through their feed, because they have to, stop and read captions and things like that. So running ads in my feed works so much better than stories for whatever reason.
What is your stance on paid advertising, organic or advertising, a mixture of the two? Where are you at with that?
I am a mixture of the two. So I feel like I am only an advocate for running ads if you can dedicate time to learning what works well, or just first dedicating time to learning how to effectively run them, and then dedicating time.
Listen, I say this all the time. Facebook ads are like Hebrew.
Yeah.
It might as well be like learning Mandarin Chinese. Okay.
Yeah,
If you can speak Mandarin, then you can do Facebook ads. It is a shit show wrapped in a puzzle, wrapped in a Rubik's Cube, and it changes every single day. You go back the next day and that button that you used is gone. So I don't want to scare anybody away from it. I'm just saying that I agree with what you said. You have to dedicate yourself to learning. It's a platform within itself. You have to dedicate yourself to learning it. However, there is no way around not learning. If you want to have your business and not have a company to do this for you, you don't have a choice, period. Exactly. Especially because Instagram is owned by Facebook. So it's not like you can circumvent the system and just do Instagram. You got to go to Facebook no matter what.
You're 100% correct. It is definitely like reading Mandarin or Hebrew, girl. It's a whole nother something. It's a language. It really is. And there's so much information on like the dashboard that if you don't take the time to figure out what all of these things mean, you're going to quickly feel like, one, either you're wasting your money, or two, you're wasting your time. I think that for me, it took me, I don't know, a few months of just consistently doing it to realize that all of those numbers meant something. Like, I think sometimes there's this misconception that like, if I don't see dollars made, then it wasn't effective. And I'm like, no, because if you saw, link clicks, or, you had an influx of link clicks or whatever, that's information.
Something is working.
Yeah. And I'm like, you use that information to pivot, or you use that information for the next time you run an ad to refine it and, get more clear about your targeting or whatever. So I think it's really important to take time to learn like what all of those different elements of the ads manager mean, so that you can figure out what will work best for you, or figure out what you need to change the next time you do it. And I think a lot of people get very discouraged from, not too many people run ads and you see money made the first time around.
Or the 10th.
Or the 10th, yes, you're right.
If we want to keep it real.
I run ads still to this day all the time, and literally I spend, I don't know, $20, $30, $40, and I make no money, but I got link clicks, or, I was able to see, through the placements, like where the majority of my ad was, my budget was spent. So I know next time I'm going to spend more of my budget on this platform versus this platform. So even now, knowing what I'm doing, I still run ads and don't see any return from it. So if you can't go into running ads and have a mentality where it's like, okay, I understand that this is a learning curve, or that, there's a possibility, even after I learn what I'm doing, there's still the possibility of me spending money and not making any back. If you can't wrap your brain around that, and I'm like, just stay away from them. Just don't do it.
Outsource it. Hire somebody. Spend your money hiring somebody. Instead of spending your money hiring an Instagram influencer, spend your money hiring an ad agency that understands the Hebrew that is Facebook advertising. If you cannot dedicate some time in your life to really figure it out, I would suggest that's where you invest your coin.
Yes, girl, 100%. And I think, like I said, it took me maybe 3 months or so to like actually understand what was there. And gratefully, so at my last job, we had I had a little marketing budget, so I got to learn how to run ads on somebody else's dime.
Okay.
Really well when I got to my own business. So I literally am just like, take your time and read it all. Like, Google exists for a reason. Google, what all those words mean: impressions, reach, link clicks, unique link clicks. Like research it all to figure out what it means, and then figure out how you can apply it. And another thing, before we switch topics, is I always recommend, you have to choose what your objective is for the ad, but also give yourself a goal for it, because sometimes people are like, they choose the objective of running traffic, and they see traffic, but they deem it to not be enough traffic or whatever, or they feel like the ad didn't perform well. But I'm like, okay, you saw traffic. Were you wanting to see a certain number of link clicks or whatever? So I always tell people to give themselves a goal in alignment with the objective. So like, I'm running traffic, but I also want to see this amount of traffic, or I want to see an increase in my email subscribers or whatever. So that way, when you decide when that ad is done, whether or not it was successful or not, you have something to base your feelings of success or failure off of. Like, if I met my goal, then it was successful. If I did not, then I need to try something else the next time around. So
I like that concept. Put a goal on whatever ads you run, no matter what the goal is. That way you can decide if it was successful or not. And that way you can move on, or you can just keep pounding the pavement on that one thing that you have deemed successful. That's important advice.
yeah.
I want to talk about the Boutique Academy. You
Yeah.
started an entire school system, basically, of courses on how people can start businesses for themselves. Tell me a little bit more about the Boutique Academy.
So the Boutique Academy was born from all of the numerous comments and questions that I get in my inbox, or, in the comments under my YouTube videos and everything. I just realized that as much as I love making YouTube videos, I don't have the capacity to make a YouTube video every day, or to answer every single question in a YouTube video. Or for instance, like me talking about ads, like I can't make one YouTube video and that explain to you how to properly or effectively run ads. So I started to realize that like some things needed to be a more extended learning process. So I started creating online courses to answer those more like deep level questions that I couldn't answer in a 5-minute or 10-minute YouTube video. And those have done very well for both my students in the courses and my bank account too.
Hello, praise his name.
It's really crazy, but I think it works really well. Honestly, I've been telling all my friends who have like a platform where they share information and things like that to start doing online courses, because there's so much information that we have inside. Like, all of us have some bit of information in us that somebody else would benefit from. So even if it's like a very short little 3-lesson course about whatever it is that you're knowledgeable about, like, I was so shocked at the number of people who bought the first course that I ever put out. And I was like, and it was I don't remember which course it was.
Was it the Instagram? I know you have ads. You've got so many. Like, what was the one?
I think it was the website building one. I think my website building course was the first one that I did. And that one shocked me. The number of people that bought it shocked me, because of the mere fact that there are like hundreds of thousands of videos on YouTube of people literally walking you through step by step of how to build a website. So honestly, in that moment, I realized, again, the value of me saying it to them versus them hearing it from a complete stranger.
Right. So that's exactly what sold it. Yeah. It's the trust factor. Mm-hmm. I know Jance. I trust Jance. I know that she's not going to steer me wrong. Exactly. And it's the way you talk to people. They know that you are a normal girl. You don't have billions of dollars in the bank. You're telling them from the perspective that their sister or their friend would tell them. So that's why they trust you and they want to spend money with you.
Exactly. And so that first course kind of, I guess, basically catapulted me into wanting to just continue to create them, because I realized that like they were of value to my audience. They actually appreciated them. And so I didn't want them to, interfere with my ability to continue to create YouTube videos. So in my YouTube videos, I always mention at the end to have people comment and let me know what they want my future video to be about and stuff like that. So that helps me to gauge, whether or not something can be a video versus if they say, I don't know, for example, that they wanted to learn how to run ads. I'm like, I can't teach you how to run ads in a 10-minute video, but I can create a course for that. So me being able to have that engagement with my audience helps me to not only continue to create content for YouTube, but also to create courses that they will benefit from.
So how many courses are you at now?
I have Four. I have four courses, and then I just pre-launched an 8-week accelerated learning program. So that one's going to be excited. That one's starting June 1st, and also all of my courses prior were self-paced courses, so they were pre-recorded lessons, and they could just go through them, at their own pace. So my program is going to be for people who are already in business and looking to make more money. That's how I sum it up. And it's going to be learning with me. So I'll literally meet up with them via video every week for 8 weeks, and we'll go through a dedicated topic for 8 weeks straight. And I'll basically guide them along the path of taking their business from point A to point wherever it is that they're trying to get it to. So counting the accelerator, I have 5 courses.
And see, you answered my next question within this question, but I would like you to elaborate just a little more, because that was going to be my question. Who all should be creating courses and why? I see that this is an avenue that is exploding for entrepreneurs. I'm interested in doing one for myself. But who do you think should be creating a course, and what's the reason? I
would say, honestly, anyone who has accomplished something that someone else would want to learn. So for example, I have an online boutique. Before I started sharing information, I didn't have an online boutique, but I had knowledge in it. And so I didn't choose to start creating the courses until I had people who were actually asking for my opinion, over and over again. So I was like, okay, I think this is something that I could definitely sell if I took the time to actually map out the steps that they needed to take to get to wherever it is they were trying to get to. So I always say anybody that has accomplish something that someone else would like to accomplish, whether it be you launched a business or a certain type of business, you're a master at, I don't even know, girl, basketball.
They teach everything. They teach how to make cupcakes online. They got courses for everything on planet Earth.
My youngest sister, she in high school and a little bit of college, she was really great at basketball. She was captain of her basketball team. And I'm listen, I was one of those children who really liked basketball, but I could not play it. I'm you could teach somebody's kid how to play basketball. If you are skillful at whatever and you know that you're good at it, I'm yes, teach it. Teach it. And
I ever think you'll get to a point where you put the boutique business on hold and just focus on courses?
I be thinking about that all the time.
I know that course money is long.
It's so funny. I was just looking at my expenses yesterday. So my expenses literally side by side for the boutique academy and my boutique, and it's so hard to keep a very good profit margin for a boutique because you're constantly having to put more money into it. So
and more time.
Yes. So I was looking at those expenses next to the boutique academy, and I'm the overhead for the boutique academy is so small. It's crazy. I literally I pay for the platform, my ads if I'm running ads.
And you create the content, and then it's evergreen. It's all profit.
Yeah. Yes, girl, it's crazy. So sometimes I'll promote it, myself in my stories or my feed, and sometimes I just let ads run. Over the holiday season, I just let ads run on my content creation course, and in a 3-week period, I made $6,000 from.
Come on, I love that.
A lot of those people, I did not know these people. They were complete strangers who just landed on the ad, and they're oh, I need to learn this, and that happened. So I'm sometimes boutique is taking up some time. I could be creating a course or something.
I love that. And just on that one example, Grant Cardone, mega businessman, I signed up for one of his programs a while back, and I promise you, hand to God, he created this video in 1997. 1997, and it's the same video that he is selling us today in 2019. The same course. You could tell by the suit, you could tell by the graphics, and the information was still relevant, don't get me wrong. But it was such an aha moment that you could create quality content one time and sell it for the next 10 years.
Yeah. Girl, it's crazy. And I sometimes I think about for example, if I have a YouTube video that does really well, I'm okay, I feel like I need to just make this video private and put it somewhere and sell it, because obviously a lot of people wanted this information. So I haven't done that yet. I tend to just let them be. I'm I'll just let that stay, and people can continue to, get that information.
For now. So if I were you guys, I will link Jance's YouTube information, her course information, every single thing you need to get into Team Jance will be in the show notes. So don't you worry about it. I suggest you go watch those YouTube videos while they are free because the price is going up. We are monetizing everything and it will not be available. This is a limited time offer. Okay, we monetize everything over here. All right, now I need to know what your get rich tip is for me. Let the people know.
Okay, so my get rich quick tip is to honestly set a goal of how much you want to make. And so I'm an advocate for working backwards. Set a goal and then determine what you can sell. Determine what your capacity for selling that thing is. So I can sell, one a day, or I think I can sell one a week or whatever. And then determine how much you need to sell whatever that is for to get to that big goal. So for example, let's say you wanted to make $1,000 by the end of the month. I'm be like, okay, I need to make $250 per week to get to that $1,000 point. Then I'm like, okay, can I sell whatever this is for $250 and it be one transaction? Or can I divide it up into two $125 transactions? I am big on like working backwards and breaking it down into like the smallest bits and figuring out like what my capacity is for being able to get to that number the quickest way possible.
I like that because time is not money. I tell people this all the time. Time is time. Time never comes back. And any entrepreneur that's been in the game will tell you anything that you could do to make your time work better for you and time management and have more time is more important. Forget the money. Figure out things that you can do to make time your most valuable resource because it will never come back to you. So that's super, really, really, really good advice.
Yes. I need my time.
For everything, for leisure, for work, for vacation, for everything.
Yes, so I'm always looking for the best way to limit the amount of time I have to dedicate to anything especially anything that doesn't bring me complete joy. I'm like, okay, if this does not bring me complete joy, then how can I limit the amount of time that I have to put towards it? Not to say that there's anything in my business that doesn't bring me joy at this point, but I am always looking to get to that point of having the most freedom possible.
That's what we're doing this for. That's why we're all entrepreneurs, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So do you have a book that you would like to recommend for the people, something that changed your life or changed your perspective, whether it be in business or personal growth?
Yes, I like this book called You're a Badass by Jance Chartae, I believe.
I've read that. I've read both of hers.
I haven't read the second one. I read the first one, though.
The second one is a major key because it's You're a Badass at Making Money.
Oh, okay. I need to read that one. I'm going to find that on Amazon since we're done.
That's an exclusive. She upgraded it and made it all about money. But you know what? This is not about me. You carry on. Why do you like the book?
No, I really like that one. I don't know. I think I'm always an advocate for like anything that's going to make me feel as if I am like capable of doing whatever it is that I have in my brain for me to do. Very short period of my life where like I went through, a bit of depression and just like feeling like I can't get to where I want to get through or like nothing's working, things like that. So I love reading anything that like puts me in a space of feeling like, girl, you got this. Like, you know what you're talking about and you can accomplish whatever it is that you want to accomplish and do it great.
Exactly what that book will do. And you have got to You Are a Badass at Making Money. I mean, I don't think that you have that obstacle because you are such a hustler, but it's never anything wrong with learning even more skills on how to be a profitable person.
Yes, exactly. I'm definitely going to get that second one.
That is a fantastic book choice. I want to thank the diva of boutiques, honey, the mastermind of the Boutique Academy, owner of Brazen Boutique, Jance Chartae, for being with us. Jance, do you think we will ever get another meetup at what do we go to? Girl, it's this Jack is talking to me. You know what I'm talking about. At the trade show in Vegas. Do you think we will ever get another meetup? Because I didn't make the last one, but I want to make it again. Yes. Do you think we'll ever get that again?
Yes, ma'am. The last one was spectacular. It was amazing. Me and I think it was like 10 or 12 of us in this really nice suite in Vegas, and we just like chatted it up for like literally the whole night about business.
What's the name of the convention?
Magic.
Magic. Oh my God, this cocktail got me. Okay. That's what
Yeah,
I meant to say, man.
girl. Yes, I plan to do it again and again and again because it was a great time. And I just love, the even though I have, whatever information I have in my brain, I love being able to bring women together to share information with one another. So like, it wasn't a space of me just, talking at people.
Talking.
It was like
Mhm.
us sharing information with one another and just encouraging everybody to keep going or, do more or do this differently and stuff like that. So it is one of my soul missions to continue to create spaces like that where we can just encourage one another and, encourage one another to keep pushing, keep doing better and better, keep it
I
going.
love that. So
Yeah.
maybe not in August, but
Girl,
in
okay, maybe not.
February, if things get better, hopefully there will be
Yeah.
a meetup and hopefully there will be another magic. We don't
Yeah.
know with this coronavirus, but
All right. Let us
fingers
know.
crossed. And
Yeah.
I will be the first person signing up.
Yeah.
So email me early and
I
let me
will,
know when.
girl.
I love it. And I will link everything about Jance in the show notes, guys. Thank you for being with us today, babe. I appreciate
You're
you.
welcome. Thank you for having me. I loved it. It was a great time.
Absolutely. Again, I want to thank Jance Chartae for joining me this week. It was a fantastic interview, girl. I appreciate you. I will see you guys again next week on the Get Rich or Get Drunk Trying podcast.